RC, and today I'm going to be giving a speech on how to take a better photograph. Okay, so we're going to look at 5 steps to learning how to take a better photograph. Number 1 is always be on the move. Number 2 is look for the good lighting. Number 3 is rule of thirds. Number 4 is 1 out of 10. And number 5 is know your camera settings. Alright, so step number 1, always be on the move. So this means that let's say you are taking a picture of someone sitting at their desk working in a chair. Instead of just standing in front and snapping a few shots, you're going to stand in front. You're going to stand to the side. You might try from down below or up top and try and get a different angle on them. The second rule is zoom with your feet. So unless you're taking pictures of animals in nature or sports, always zoom with your feet. So don't just zoom in on your camera, walk up and get closer in because the image quality of the picture will be better. And you can always crop in the post-editing. Alright, so step number 2, look for the good lighting. Now honestly, photography is all about lighting. That's very crucial. That is what sets some photographers' styles from others. Some photographers will have a style where it's always bright light, and others will have a style where it's a little bit dimmer, darker, a different mood. So you want to pay attention to the direction of the sun, because otherwise if you don't, you might end up silhouetting out your subjects. So let's say you have 4 girls, and you're wanting to get a good picture and have a crisp image of their face, but it's at sunset. You do not want the sun to be behind them, otherwise it will silhouette them like this picture here and make them black. What you want to do is have the sun behind you, shining on their face, so that there's a good crisp image on them. So that means that you need to change your angle of the camera depending on where the sun is. And that's something that you learn with practice. So because the end goal is that you want to eliminate your subject. Now silhouetting can be cool, and it's something that you can do on purpose, but you definitely want to know ahead of time what your goal is. Okay? So step 3 is rule of thirds, and this is something that most photographers know about, and it's just a general idea that they try to keep in mind when they're doing photography to keep things interesting. So basically, it's basically saying where you place your subject matters, and the goal is to create visual movement in your picture. So according to Digital Photo Secrets, the rule of thirds creates a grid of 2 lines going down, 2 lines going to the horizontal and vertical. And so let's say you're wanting to take a picture of a bowl of fruit, and you could put it in 3 areas in the picture. You could do it in the middle, you could do it in the left, or you could do it in the right. And keeping that in mind is keeping the rule of thirds in mind of where to place it along the composition of the photo to create the best possible movement in the picture. Okay? So step 4, 1 out of 10. Now this is something that as a photographer can be hard to swallow at first. Basically, half of the photos that you take are going to be terrible. So instead of, let's say, you're wanting to take a picture of someone swinging, you can't just stand in front, take a few pictures of where you think that perfect moment is, and then be done. You have to look for what you think is the perfect moment, but take a ton of pictures, because 1 out of 10 is going to be good. A lot of them will not be good, but that doesn't mean you're not a good photographer. It's knowing how to take a lot of photos, culling through those photos, and picking the very best one. By taking a lot, you give yourself a better chance of getting a better image. Okay? Alright, so step 5, this is the last one, but honestly most important, know your camera settings. A lot of us can start out on auto, which is good because then you're getting a feel for things. But as you move away from auto and into more of a professional photography, there are 3 things you definitely need to know about. And Photography Life is a blog which talks about these, and it offers an easy-to-read tutorial for beginners about aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. So I'm going to explain them very briefly. Aperture, well first, these are the 3 factors that you manipulate to control the lighting of the picture, and the lighting is everything. And here we have an example of an underexposed photo, a good photo, which is right exposure, and overexposed. So at underexposed, it's too dark, and then you want the one in the middle, and the one on the right is overexposed, which is too much lighting. So aperture is basically how blurry the picture is. If you're wanting to take a picture of a ladybug, but you want the background blurred, you're going to have a low aperture. But if you're wanting to get the ladybug and the greenery in focus, you're going to have a big aperture. Shutter speed is how fast you take the photo, which determines the amount of light that comes in. And ISO is your backup light. So if you are trying to take pictures of food indoors. There's not enough light. You crank up the ISO and it'll add light to your settings. Okay? So basically knowing your settings will help you take that step into being a much better photographer. Okay? So the 5 steps: remember to always be on the move, look for the good lighting, rule of thirds, 1 out of 10, and knowing your camera settings. So go out, try it, have some fun.
Nice job!